Well, Donald Trump absolutely thrashed Nikki Haley in her home state of South Carolina, where she served 2 terms as governor. Not only did he absolutely just blow her out of the water by over a 20-point spread, he set a record for the most votes received in a primary. He set a record for being the only Republican to ever beat an incumbent on anything there. And he set a record for the fastest called race in South Carolina history. Literally 30 seconds after the polls closed, every network from faux pas news, formerly known as Fox News, to CNN, called it for Donald Trump. I'm going to quote Chris Rock here. When George W. Bush beat Al Gore in Al Gore's home state of Tennessee, Chris Rock said, when you lose your home state, that's like not getting a job recommendation from your mom. The Trump train is rolling. The lying legacy corporate corrupt mainstream media, they are losing their minds at PMSNBC and over at CNN. How can this criminal, and they know the handwriting is on the wall, as much as they try to spin it. Well, Donald Trump didn't win Democratic votes like Nikki Haley did. The only votes Nikki Haley got were Democrats. Not because these are people that would vote for her in the general election. They're just wanting to mess in a Republican primary. We used to do it too. Remember, this was spurred on originally by Rush Limbaugh in messing with Hillary Rodham Clinton in her primary. So, these Democrats that come out and support Nikki, she has no momentum. No one likes her. I mean, literally, no one. I have yet to meet anyone that is supporting Nikki Haley. And I talked to all kinds of Republicans, including the never Trump Republicans who don't like Donald Trump. But we're watching more and more Republicans finally wake up. This is what's happening. Donald Trump is drawing that inside straight. And I'm telling you, the Fani Willis case in Georgia it has absolutely imploded on her, and her lover have been exposed for the liars they are. They have perjured themselves, and they're going to be off this case. And I don't know that any other Georgia prosecutor is going to want to touch it. The Jack Smith case on the insurrection in the documents is being slow rolled, and part of that case is already going before the Supreme Court because of another appeal from some other Trump defendants. And it looks like that the Supreme Court is going to deal a devastating blow to the D.C. case. Donald Trump is going to be the nominee, and he is well on his way to being number 47. That said, let's talk about trans issues today, shall we?
Let's get ready to rumble! You can't handle the truth.
Hi, I'm Pastor Marty. This is the Afternoon Drive. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you're a subscriber to the channel. Smack the bell, click the word all. It'll give you notification of every one of my incredible rants, ravings, and my flawless, undeniable, perfect reasonings. Hey, and once you have done all that, please like and share this video. That's how we get the word out that we're here. So please post the link to this video on your social media platforms. Welcome to the Afternoon Drive. Well, I don't know what it's like where you are, but I'm enjoying 70 degrees. And see, what have I got today? Oh, a Monte Cristo, yeah. My cigar of choice is Ashton Corona. Having a hard time finding them here in my new locale. I know I can order them online and have them shipped to me, and I will eventually, but I like to go to certain haunts and see what's there. And not finding my stash of Olivas like I could find in Ohio, not finding my stash of Camachos like I had in Ohio, and but I do like a good Monte Cristo, so that's what I'm enjoying today. All right, let's get on to the topic at hand. Trans issues. You say, Pastor Marty, what has that got to do with anything else going on in the world right now? Well, we all have very definitive feelings on pronouns and this transphoria that Big Pharma is pushing. And notice what I said, big pharma is pushing this. And again, this is a play right out of Mao, right out of the communists. This is really about, pulling kids away from parents. Can't trust the parents. The state will be your parent. Mao was the children's parent. The state will be your parent. This is about creating literally a generation of just non-thinking, emotional wimps who can't think for themselves and cannot fight back. That is why we are pushing this bullhawk 100 miles an hour. All of this hormone blockers and trans therapy for children. Megyn Kelly appeared this weekend at CPAC. And Megyn Kelly is done. She's absolutely done on any level trying to be compassionate or understanding on this issue because of the fact they crossed the line when they went for kids and told kids, you don't have to tell mom and dad about this because mom and dad might be abusive and not understanding, and you just tell your teacher and we'll make sure everything happens. And there's been no serious thought or expertise given to what happens in the long term to these kids. They don't care. This isn't about these kids. It's about an agenda that they want to happen. And Megyn Kelly is now saying the quiet part out loud that, to be quite honest, I'm not hearing about these cases. We have heard about in high school now this push to put boys pretending to be girls onto the girls' athletic teams. Basketball, volleyball, field hockey. We're not being told by the lying legacy media about the girls on the opposing teams that are getting hurt, seriously, physically hurt. And Megyn Kelly, she got on this.
There was Peyton McNabb in North Carolina who still has permanent injuries, including mental issues, brain issues, and paralysis down her arm after a male volleyball player posing as a girl spiked the ball so hard in her head that she suffered permanent damage. There was a girl playing field hockey in Massachusetts just a couple of months ago who got all of her teeth knocked out. As a boy, pretending to be a girl, slammed that field hockey ball hard into her face. There were 3 girls in Massachusetts this week, in Lowell, Massachusetts, who were hurt playing basketball against a 6-foot-tall boy pretending to be a girl. That's the way you should say it. There's no such thing as trans anything. It's boy pretending to be a girl who hurt 3 girls to the point where they had to end the game early, and the coach pulled the team. Someone's going to die. Someone's going to die.
Now, I have to tell you, I was a high school varsity coach for 15 plus years. All of my kids played varsity level sports when they were in high school. My youngest daughter went to college on a volleyball scholarship. My oldest daughter played volleyball and basketball. My youngest daughter played basketball and volleyball. My youngest daughter, we switched schools her senior year in high school. Never an easy thing. She went to a brand new school for her senior year. She broke all of their records in high school varsity basketball there. My 2 boys played varsity level sports, soccer, football, baseball, basketball. Let me tell you what I would do to the dude pretending to be a girl that hurt one of my girls during an athletic competition. Or I should say, to that dude's father. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. God bless Megyn Kelly for bringing this up. And I'm asking the same question that a lot of you are. Why are we not hearing about these stories on the news? And will we hear about this on the news when some girl actually dies? There is a reason, and it is not sexist, that there are boys' divisions and girls' divisions. There are literal physical differences between males and females. And this whole fantasy world of saying that there's trans. No, you're a boy or a girl, period. And Megyn Kelly has to point the obvious out here?
A couple of things here. Number one, they tell us that the puberty blockers into the cross-sex hormones, it's fine. Puberty blockers are just a pause. It's a lie. 97% of kids who go on puberty blockers will do cross-sex hormones immediately thereafter. And you know what that does? That will sterilize your child. Now your child is more than likely going to be sterile, and Zero sexual enjoyment for the rest of his or her life. Did you know that? There will be no sexual pleasure for your child. You want to make that decision for a 13-year-old? You think they know what they're giving up? There was a detransitioner recently who managed to get pregnant, which is against all the odds. And she was in tears at the birth of her baby, not fully tears of joy, but also because she couldn't breastfeed. She had had her breast chopped off when she was a teenager, a young teenager.
Don't men, what is it, chest feed? Is
I
that
can't.
What it is?
There's no such thing as chest
feeding. And the male
feeding.
pregnancy, that's the one I'm like, really, people?
Chest
really?
feeding is child abuse. They pump these men full of hormones, and then so that it can produce something approximating milk. And then this poor tortured baby is in agony trying to get enough out of there. It's a lie. But it's a lie. There was a great piece online, and I love the line, the title of it. Pronouns are rohypnol. They dull your senses. It's the way the left controls language is to make you behave the way they want you to behave. You know, like, this is racist, this is transphobic, this is so that you won't do the thing, you won't say the thing. And saying the pronouns is how they get you to bend on gender ideology. They dull your brain to the incongruity of calling a he a she. And they're doing it intentionally. They want you to get dulled to that fake reality they're shoving down our throats.
Right.
You have to resist. You can say with all due respect, I don't do that.
Unbelievable. Dr. Phil was on with Joe Rogan, and they were discussing this whole issue of the hormone blockers. And Dr. Phil, you know, the guy that we consider like the TV doctor, Dr. Phil is saying, wait a minute, why are we in a mad rush to do this when there are no long-term studies saying this is okay? But we got all kinds of red flags here that this is not okay, yet the American Medical Association and everybody is behind it, just like all the experts were behind the magic elixir, love potion number 9, during the pandemic. I have a deacon in my church who's had been out for a week with COVID. And I told him he needed, that horse medicine. In fact, I told him the name of the medicine. He's like, yeah, I asked about that, and they told me that was... still spinning that narrative. But again, I have to pause here and say that we know that the magic elixir works just fine. Big Pharma, the government, in bed working together to breed a brand new race and group of people. Non-thinking, emotionally unstable, who do what they're told and are never a threat to their power or authority. That's what all of this is. Here's Joe Rogan and Dr. Phil.
And we've got these people that, it's interesting, they choose words like gender-affirming care. That's interesting that they call it that, but really what they're talking about is hormonal therapy or sex reassignment surgery on children. And in fairness, the American Medical Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Endocrine Society, or whatever the exact name of that is, all of the major medical associations have signed off on this, Joe. They've signed off on it. And I have never seen those organizations sign off on anything with less information as to whether or not it does long-term harm of anything in my life. And when I ask about that, when I bring that up, then they immediately label you as transphobic. And I thought that the deal was first do no harm. And all of the European countries, Sweden, Norway, they've all stopped doing it because they say, we cannot say in good conscience that this does no harm.
Also, these people that are teaching these kids, do we even know them? You don't know them. I mean, how much do you know about them before they start teaching your kids?
Well, that's
it could be insane. It's not like the threshold for teachers is so high that only the elite of the elite cross it. You see a lot of these weird people teaching classes, and you don't necessarily want them giving advice to children about decisions for the rest of their life. And here's an important point that people need to really take into consideration. There's a reason why they have little kids become suicide bombers. Because you can talk kids into almost anything. You can talk them into believing in Santa Claus. You talk kids into believing in all kinds of ridiculous shit because they're really young. You could easily convince them in one way or another that they're anything, that they're queer, that they're trans. You could 100% convince some kids of all kinds of things, especially by reinforcing it with love and support and happiness. You can convince people of a lot of things. That's what's uncomfortable for a lot of people.
Megyn Kelly gave the right response to parents across this nation. What needs to be done on this issue? How do we address this issue? How do we deal with it? Fight.
And parents out there, they're freaking out. They're looking at the fact that this leftist agenda has penetrated into their schools. This is a topic we've been discussing here, where you have 14-year-old girls having mastectomies. They're getting puberty blockers. You have the medical industry supporting this. How do we stop this?
If you take nothing else away, I hope, from anything I say tonight, please take this away. Fight. You have to. You can't remain silent to protect your reputation or how people feel about you. Parents need to stand up against this.
Hey, thank you for watching my weekend edition of the Afternoon Drive. Get out there, enjoy the day, be blessed, and remember, the Trump train is now rolling. Get on board.